I'm Kelsey, KPI strategist and dashboard creator at Innowick, where we get super pumped up about helping you become a metrics pro. So today's topic actually takes you behind the scenes to my desk, where I'm going to share with you how you can educate yourself on your client's industry so that you can quickly show that you know what you're talking about for their business. So this type of activity will quickly up-level you into a strategic partner position and quickly build trust as well. So the thought of learning an entire industry is daunting. And it is still true that there is so much to learn within an industry. So we are going to simplify this and think of it as two key things to take away from today's talk. So the first is more tactical data gathering piece, which involves getting to the context of the situation, the industry, and their numbers. And then the second tip I have is the more connecting and heartfelt piece, which is just displaying that true curiosity. So let's start with context. Think of context as another way to just say comparison. So, what do you need for context when it comes to data and financial information? Well, it is most helpful to have at least two data points to compare. I'm actually going to share three here that I personally like to gather and use. So, data point number one is that you can gather all of the relevant history that you can get from the client. One of my previous videos actually shares how to get the client comfortable with providing you their numbers. So definitely check that out if you haven't yet. So because I work in strategy and data, I like to, out of the gate, go ahead and ask the client if they're comfortable providing me a profit and loss statement, specifically for the current year to date. If we ever need to go deeper from future conversations, I will eventually ask for more information, but usually current is helpful when you're first getting in there. And then data point number two that I like to do is look up some industry benchmarks. So, for example, if I'm working with a pest control service provider or somebody in a similar field services industry, you could straight up go to Google as your friend and say um, typical profit margin for pest control or typical profit margin for construction, and you get the drill. And that helps give you some industry benchmarks. Obviously, if you have previous client history, it's nice to take a glance at that as well. But this point is for if you don't have that available. And then data point number three that I like to pull out from the client is just asking them how they feel about the numbers and performance. How do they feel about where they currently are and where they want to go related to their profit, for example? So, this will give you some good insight. It gives you some historical context from the client's point of view, and it gives you insights as to what they feel like their good, better, and best looks like. And you'll also, a lot of times, they'll even get more descriptive about their pain points as they're telling their story. And so this gives you insights as to what they're looking for and even how you can best tailor the reports to them to have a better conversation in the future as well, because they're going to give you what their financials currently look like. Chances are you can come in and add immediate value by making different tracking suggestions or even suggestions of how they can change the results of some of those numbers. For example, cutting expenses is one that I typically can get in there and help them do really quickly. So, on that token, while I like to come up with my own conclusions or suggestions about the numbers, um, that comes over time and practice. So, when I'm new to an industry, I typically take a listening stance. I like to spend plenty of time gathering and listening first, because if you take that seat and take some time, once you speak after you have some hard facts, you can approach it more confidently, and you will definitely have their attention, because now you are demonstrating that you tend to speak when there are credible data points. All right, so I'm going to walk through an example. If I say to somebody, you should sell your course for $1,000 a seat. Well, if history tells me the averages are $50 a seat and the client expects 100 and the competitors are selling it for 250, then my advice of the $1,000, before I went and gathered all these data points and this additional context, had I not known this context, I would be setting unrealistic expectations and setting us up for heartache. I would probably also look a little crazy. But if the industry and expectations of the client are both consistently around $750, and we could increase from these actuals of $50, then we're already closer to that $1,000, and we have just added immense value to the client. And then the second key piece I want you to remember is just be genuinely curious. Ask great questions. Ask your client, hey, what's your favorite revenue activity? Where do you get the most joy working in your business? What activities are driving the revenue streams that we see today versus what you would like to see? And ask them how their main offers work. This will also give you insight into their back office operations and how you can help them be more strategic with that going forward. You can also ask these same or several different types of questions about their typical expenses. So, gathering it from their perspective, you can also, assuming they did give you the set of financials, you could even just walk through it line by line. Eventually, I like to get them into more visual and analytics. And so we won't be walking them through line by line forever, but definitely on the first couple of talks, I have found that that is how they've historically looked at it. And that is how you will get some of the most organic information from that conversation, because that is how they grew up, so to speak, looking at these reports. And that'll be how they're most comfortable talking about it, until you give them in the future more strategy, more visualization, and more specific insights. So I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope it helps you just get in there really quickly and confidently. And if you like what you see, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel, because we will be cranking out more content. Take care.